Hello, students. This is Miss Michaud, and this is your checking account assignment. Your objectives are: students will be able to 1. Write out a check, 2. Identify parts of a check, 3. Fill out a check register, and 4. Reconcile a bank statement. Let's learn how to write out a check.
In this video, we'll learn how to fill out a personal bank check. First, write the current date. Or, if you don't want the check to be cashed until a later date, you can post-date it. The date format should be month, day, and then year. Write the full name of the payee or recipient. This can be the individual's first name and then last name, or it could be the name of an organization. In the box, write numerically the amount you want to give. Don't forget to write a comma for amounts over 1,000 and also write a period between the dollars and the cents. This amount should not be more than the funds you have in your checking account. Otherwise, when the recipient tries to deposit your check, the bank will not cash or deposit the check, and the bank may charge you a fee for insufficient funds. But you might wonder, how can you prevent the recipient from adding an additional digit here? Well, on this line, we correctly spell out in words the amount that matches the number in the box. For any cents, write them as a fraction over 100. Then, draw a horizontal line all the way across to the end. This will prevent sneaky people from adding to the amount that you wrote. The memo line is optional. It's usually helpful to write a note to remind you later what this check was for. Man, the kids need to take shorter baths. Lastly, sign the check. A check is considered a legal document. Your signature authorizes the bank to pull these funds from your bank account. In fact, without a signature, a bank will not allow the recipient to deposit the check. Now you know how to write a check. In our next video, we'll show you hidden security features on bank checks, which you never guessed.
Okay, so just to recap, here's a sample check. You want to fill out the date, the payee, that's who the check is written out to, the written amount, the numeric amount rather, that should be as close to the dollar sign as possible, so that's the numeric amount. The written amount in words with a line all the way to the word dollars. You don't have to write out the word dollars, it's already there. The purpose of the check or the account number for that particular account. So you have an account with Hydrotech, and there's usually an account number that's associated with that. So you can put that there as well. That's common practice, so they credit the right account. And then the person's name, and that's your signature in cursive writing. So now let's learn the different parts of a check.
What those weird-looking numbers on the bottom of a check mean, or why we have to write out the amount in two different places? Even though checks may seem like a thing of the past, many of us still have to handle one at one time or another. But don't worry, in the next few minutes we'll dissect the different parts of a check to gain a complete understanding of what these financial instruments are telling us. So let's begin. Here is a check. Most checks you see will have a different design or size, but all of them contain the same important information. The top left corner lists the owner of the check and their address. The bank where the owner of the check does business is usually listed here. This is important information for those cashing the check, because if you don't have a bank account of your own, you will have to visit the bank listed on the check. The date line is where you put the date when the check is made out. If you are cashing the check, make sure that the date is within the last 6 months, because most checks expire or become void after 6 months. This is called the D line. This is where you require the name of the person you are giving the check to. Be sure to use full check though, nobody likes their names wrong. The amount box is where you write the amount of the debt in numerical form, 35.75. This is the legal line. This is where you have to write out the amount in words. Whatever is written here is what the check is legally cashed for, so make sure it matches the amount box. If you're forgetful, the memo line can help you remember what the check was for, or you can always write a little message like, "Happy birthday," or "Sorry for denting your car." Now we venture into these strange-looking numbers at the bottom. The first one is known as the routing number. This special number corresponds to the bank listed on the check, sort of like an ID number for the bank. The second number is the account number. This ensures that the money comes out of the correct account. With a person's account number and personal information like name and address listed on a check, it makes it very important to keep checks in a safe and secure place. If they fall into the wrong hands, your identity and money could be at risk. This last number is the check number, and it also matches the number in the top right-hand corner. This helps a person keep track of how many checks they have written out. It also helps to detect fraud. If you see two checks with the same number, one or both of them is fake because a check can only have a number listed once. The last thing that completes a check and makes it a legal document is the endorsement or signature. This is where the person who owns the check signs their name to make it valid. No signature means no money. Now that you know the parts of a check, you will be prepared to write, cash, and handle these financial instruments. Way to go! To learn more about banking and financial literacy, visit the First National Bank website at www.fnb.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram.
Okay, so let's recap the different parts of the check. This part up here, part number 1, that's the drawer. That's the owner of the checking account. Part 2 is the payee. That's who the check is written out to. Part 3 is the numeric amount. Part 4 is the written amount. Part 5 is the purpose of the check or the account number associated with who you're paying. Part 6 is the date. Part 7 is the signature. Part 8 is the drawee. That's the name of the bank. Part 9 is the routing number. Part 10 is the account number. Part 11 is the check number. It's written in 2 places, also in the upper right-hand corner. And part number 12 is the ABA, or the American Bankers Association number, right here. So let's go to your checking account document so we can answer some questions on that document. And here it is. I'm going to scroll up at the very top. You want to place your name up here, Command U, and then I'm going to type out a sample name here. And then here's a sample check, and you need to answer these questions that deal with this particular check here. So you can pause the video to do that, and then we'll go back to the video. Next, you'll learn how to fill out a check register.
Hello, and welcome to our next video. Today, I'm going to show you how to fill out a checkbook register. But even if you never have a checkbook, this will still be a great way to keep track of your money. And we're off. Here's a little chunk of a checkbook register. So we're going to look at each of the columns so that you know what goes in them. We're going to start at the left, and then we'll work our way over. So the first column we come to is the number column. And this column is used for recording the check number. So when you write a check, then you're going to write the information about that check on the line, and you're going to start with which number it was. You'll see some codes in the number column as well, and you can use these or not use these. It's really up to you. DC stands for debit card, and then TR stands for transfer. Personally, I don't use codes because the vast majority of the stuff I do is a debit card purchase, and I know that. There's really no reason for me to write down an additional code. In the next column, you're going to record the date, and that's pretty simple. The next column is a description of the transaction. So you're going to write down who you wrote out the check to, or maybe the business that you used your debit card at. These can be more detailed. Notice that it has a name there, like Meyer, but then there's a little dash and it says groceries. So you're reminding yourself what you wrote that particular check for, or why you used your debit card there. You can use that extra detail or not use it. It's really up to you. The goal of the description column is for you to remember why that money left your account or was added to your account. So you have to use the level of detail that makes sense to you. We're going to look at the next couple of columns together. We're going to look at the checks and fees and the deposits and interest. In some checkbook registers, this may be called debits and credits. This depends on how they were printed. basically you've got two columns, and one column is used for any money that is leaving your account, and one column is used for any money that's entering your account or coming into your account. And as long as you remember that, you'll be all set. So here we have checks and fees, so that's the money leaving our account. We have deposits and interest, that's the money entering our account. And between them, we have a little check mark column. We're not going to worry about that at this point. We're going to use that when we reconcile. So you'll see me use that column in the reconciling video. Right now we're not going to use it. The last column on the right there is the balance column. The balance column is very important because that's the one that tells you how much you have in your account right now. So when you write a check, you're going to subtract that amount from the balance and then write the new balance on that line. When you make a deposit, you're going to add that amount to the balance and write the new balance on that line. So you're always adding and subtracting as you complete transactions so that you know how much money is in your account at any given time. And that's really all there is to filling out a checkbook register. If you know what goes in each of the columns, you can do some addition and subtraction to keep track of your balance, and you're going to be all set. Okay, I want you to sketch out a little chunk of a checkbook register because I'm going to have you add 3 transactions of your own. So you need to make room for 3 transactions because that's what's going in your notes today. That's what I want to see at the end of your notes is these 3 transactions put into a checkbook register correctly with the correct balance at the end. So take a quick look at each of these and remember that you can pause your video if you need more time. If you've watched this video and you can correctly fill out your checkbook register, and you're all set.
Okay, so to recap, a check register, you have your beginning balance up here. You write in the check numbers or other codes, the dates, who the check is written out to, the amount, and the deposits. So if you begin with a balance of $657.90, you subtract your check of $110.67 to get a new balance of $547.23. Subtract this debit card transaction of $88.23, you get a new balance of $459. Add your deposit here of $859.75 for $1,318.75. Subtract this transfer. The 30 cents, by the way, should go over here. And your ending balance is $868.45. So you subtract your checks and you add your deposits to maintain this running balance. So you always know how much money is in your account so you don't overdraw. Now let's go back to your checking account document. Here is the list of the 3 transactions that you will record in your check register. Let's assume you don't have any balance in your checking account. So the balance here would be 0. So please record these 3 transactions in this checking account assignment now. Feel free to pause this video. Great. Now you're done with that. The last thing that you'll learn is how to reconcile your bank statement.
Hello, and welcome to your next video. Today, I'm going to show you how to reconcile your checkbook. And it's the best thrill a minute, so we've got to get going. First, we need to start with what is reconciling? So reconciling is taking the amount of money that you think you have in your bank account and the amount of money that the bank thinks that you have in your bank account and making sure that they agree. So why should we reconcile? Well, we should reconcile because accuracy is important. And you know that from your everyday life. If you're in health class, you know that accuracy is important when you're handing out medication. If you mess it up, you kill someone. And if you're in construction, And you know that accuracy is important because if you measure something wrong or put it together wrong, your house could fall down. And if you're in pause, then you know that accuracy is important when you're dyeing someone's hair because if you have the wrong chemicals, then you can make all of their hair fall out. Accuracy is important in our everyday life, and it's also important in our financial life. Let's say reconciling a world. We have a small chunk of a checkbook register here, and then we also have a small chunk of the bank statement. We're going to look at these and make sure that they agree. So at the bottom of our checkbook register, it says that we have $957.26. And at the bottom of our statement, it says we have $967.12. Well, heavens, they don't agree. Don't panic and don't get frustrated because there's a process here. And first, we need to begin with what the bank has. So we look at our statement and we figure out how much money does the bank think that we have. And then we have to add any outstanding deposits. Outstanding means that it didn't show up on our statement. And then we have to subtract any outstanding checks. Again, outstanding means that it didn't show up on our bank statement. And then finally, what we have in our checkbook should match what's on our bank statement. And everything should be happy and good. So let's try again. We're going to look at our register and we're going to look at our bank statement. But this time, we're going to try to figure out which things show up in both places. So if I look at my statement, I'm going to see a beginning balance, and then I see there's check number 6801 for $55.63. So I go over to my register and I find it and I check it off. In the checkbook register video, I told you that there was a check mark column that we would use later on when we're reconciling, and now is the time. So we're going to make a little check or an X in that check mark column and check it off in the register. And we're going to go back to the statement, and I see a payroll deposit for $235. So I find that in my register and I check it off. And then I see check number 6803 for $25. So I try to find that in my register and I check it off. The next thing I see is an ATM withdrawal for $15.50. In my register, I see an ATM withdrawal for $15 and then they charge me a 50-cent fee. So I'm going to check that off. And then there's a payroll deposit for $355. I'm going to check that off. And then there is an Energy Plus utility debit there for $26.75. So I'm going to check that off. And now I've checked off everything on my statement in my register. So the next thing I'm going to do is fill out this checking account reconciliation form. And when I look at this, it says I need to start with the ending balance shown on this statement. So I'm going to go back to my statement and I'm going to try to figure out what my ending balance was. It was $967.12. So I'm going to go back to my reconciliation form and I'm going to write $967.12.
12 cents. So let's do this now. Let's go to your checking account assignment, your document. Scroll down to this part 4 here and ending balance on the statement. So right here is where you need to write $967.12 right in this box right here.
On my reconciliation form. The next thing I need is the deposits that were not shown on this statement. So any outstanding deposits. I'm going to go back here and look at my register and see if I had any outstanding deposits. Outstanding deposits would not be checked off. So I have that deposit for $235, that's checked off. I have a deposit for $355, that's checked off. And then I have a deposit for $35.50. cents. It was a refund check from Bestmart there. That one is not checked off. So that's what I need to add to my reconciliation form. Add that $35.50. Subtotal just means I'm adding those together so I can figure out my subtotal right now too.
Okay, so let's go do that. Let's go to your checking account document. And plus deposits not shown, that's the $35.50. So you add these two amounts up, and your subtotal is $1,002.62.
And when I add that $967.12 to that $35.50, I get $1,002.62. The next thing I need to do is figure out if I have any outstanding checks. So that means I need to go back to my register and statement here, and I'm going to look for any checks that did not get checked off in my register. So I've got check 6802 for $22.36, and I've got check 6804 for $23. Those two checks did not get checked off in my register. They did not show up on my bank statement. I'm going to go back to my reconciliation form, and off to the left-hand side here where it says outstanding checks, I'm going to write the two checks that were missing and the amount, and then I'm going to total them up down there at the bottom. And then that total at the bottom is what I'm going to move over in that space for outstanding checks.
So let's do that now. Over here is where you put the check numbers. So it's 6802 in the amount of $22.36. And check number 6804 in the amount of $23. You add those two amounts up, you get a total of $45.36. And you're going to place that amount also over here because that says less total outstanding checks.
Now it tells me less total outstanding checks. That's another way to say that I need to subtract here. So I'm adding the outstanding deposits and I'm subtracting the outstanding checks, and that's going to give me a total of $957.26.
So let's record that right here.
So I'm going to go one last time, and I'm going to look at my register here, and then I'll see that the register ended with $957.26. They match, which means that I am right on target and everything is fantastic. Life is good.
Okay. So that completes this particular assignment here. So what you need to do is just submit this on Google Classroom. Make sure you have this completed. And hopefully you learned something from this. This is the sample reconciliation statement. So this is what that last document should look like. And there you have it. So please reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a great day.